Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Power of Your Mind podcast. You're listening to episode 261, Forgiveness and Law of Attraction, Releasing Resistance. I'm Jim Kellner, comedy hypnotist. Victoria Gallagher is the #1 best-selling author of The Practical Law of Attraction, Ultimate Weight Loss Power, How to Manifest Your Soulmate, and the founder of HipTalk.com and HypnoCloud Apps, the premier online destination for hypnosis recordings. With over 500 recordings to choose from, HypnoCloud provides solutions for people from all walks of life, guided meditations, affirmations, and hypnotherapy to help with the law of attraction, manifestation, business success, stress, anxiety, sleep issues, and more. So be sure to download it today from the app stores. The goal of this show is to inspire you to dream big and live your best life, as every week we discuss how to use manifesting, affirmations, meditation, and hypnosis to help people create the life of their dreams. So if you're ready to start manifesting your best life, join us and let us help you tap into the power of your mind. Victoria, hello.
Hello, Jim. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing so good. Thank you. Really
Yes.
well.
Yes. Me too. Me too. I'm doing better
Yeah.
than I've been doing. And it's not because the new app has launched yet.
Right.
As we're recording this, it's March 30th, and this is due to release, I think, sometime in July. So
Hmm.
hopefully by now you've seen the app in the app stores,
Right.
because you know I got called out on it the other day. One of my one one of my clients, lots of my clients, they always say, talk about how they listen to this podcast, and I'm always just like, oh wow, we actually
People are
we actually
watching.
people are watching. I mean, they are, that's what our numbers say. I haven't
Yeah.
looked at our numbers in a while. They have like something like 40,000 downloads a month though, something like,
Wow. That's
yeah.
incredible.
It
Wow.
is. It really is. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you guys. But yeah, so I'm telling all of these people, of course, every month, it's like, or every week, yeah, the app's going to be out, by X and such a date. And then,
Yeah.
and then like months later, I'm talking to a client. It's like, are you still dealing with that? Like, yep. But, it's really interesting that today we're talking about the power of forgiveness.
Mm. Yeah.
And, it's just kind of dawned on me that maybe part of the reason why there's been such massive delays is, at the very, very beginning of getting together with these guys, they told a little big white lie to get my business. And, I think I've been hanging on to that.
It's unacceptable. I mean, I get it. Absolutely. Because they did it to get your business, and then and probably a sore subject with me because I've had the same situation happen. So yeah, it's frustrating.
It
Absolutely.
is. It's really frustrating, and it always seems to come back to that though. And I always seem to come back to the same thing with myself. It's like I act a little crazy for a little while because I get upset and uptight about all of that. But then I kind of realize, okay, like this whole magnetism, law of attraction, energy. It's like whatever, like if you really think of it at the highest level, the spiritual level, you really think of us as all being connected, and you
Mhm.
think of all the ways that I've thought about my developers in my mind and held them in my mind, and unleashed on them during our meetings and gotten mad and gone, all over the place. It's like that energy creates.
Mhm.
It creates. And so, it's like the only person I really should be mad at is myself, because I'm the one that made the decision to kind of, you always really have a choice.
Yeah.
I didn't, no one held a gun to my head and said I had to hire these guys.
Yeah.
And no one said I had to make a decision without having all of my little boxes checked that I needed to check off. I felt pressured to make a decision, and I went with it. And I just didn't make a good decision, and I've been paying the price for that. But, it's not really anybody's fault. I mean, it's not their fault. I mean, yeah, they lied to me, but
Yes, it is their fault, but
but it
doesn't help though. It doesn't
was
help.
in the sales and marketing department.
Yeah.
The guy that's actually really there, that's been there the whole time,
right.
It's not his fault.
True. Yeah.
And it's not the poor little guys in the back that are doing all the coding and the developing. It's not their fault.
Right.
They're all just doing. And so I just kind of realized, it's like coming from this little higher perspective and just deciding, you can control the things that you can control, but these are things that are really not within my control right now, as it is right now, where it's at, what it's become, how it got there right now is just not really within my control. So I've just kind of decided that it's going to get done when it gets done. And I've decided to just move on with my life and work on other projects. And that feels really good. So
cool.
It will get done. Don't even, but it's like, it's going to get done out of a place of peace and acceptance and serenity and positive thinking. And meanwhile, there's going to be like probably a reason. There's always a reason for everything. Yeah. And I think we're just going to find out later on that, who knows, maybe I had this delay for this whole year because maybe there's just something that I don't even know about right now.
Yeah.
That is going to be like, oh, what if we had launched the app a month ago and this happened or whatever? Who knows? Who knows?
Well, and so today we're talking about forgiveness. It sounds like maybe forgiveness is going to play a part in this story in the end, or maybe even now. Can you tell us, how would you define forgiveness, and kind of tell us why it's important? I mean, and is it important?
It's very important. I mean, it's kind of like what I'm doing right at this very moment. It's ultimately, it's just letting go of those feelings of resentment, letting go of the sadness about it, letting go of, anything that's the anger. It's really just, it's not even about the people that you need to forgive, whether it's yourself or a situation. It is about you. It's about you feeling good. And it's one of the most misunderstood topics, because so many people, like, I could never forgive that. That was just so horrible. And there are really, really horrible things that people go through, far worse than what I'm going through. This is nothing compared to some of the really, really horrible things that people go through. And so, of course, people have a hard time with forgiving. And so but it is not about forgiving. It's not about the perpetrator themselves or letting them off the hook or condoning it or making that right. It's about you choosing to have peace and serenity in your own life and just letting go of the negative feelings and emotions that are bogging you down.
Well, that makes sense, because those negative emotions don't do you any good.
They don't.
Yeah. Isn't there what is that? There's a proverb or something that's like, holding resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
Yes. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's a proverb or what it is, but
Yeah.
it's definitely that I've heard that before, and it is so true. We
Yeah.
hold we hold this resentment, but as the resentment affects us far
Yeah.
more than it affects the other person.
Well, yeah, they're not feeling it. And plus, you know what? When you're sending that out to them, especially if it's in your tone of voice or the communication you have with them, for most people, it just makes them more defensive, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
less willing to help and stuff. And people want to defend themselves. They don't want to feel, you know, guilty of anything.
The way I've kind of thought of it too, it's really it's really silly when you really think about it, because these people have got my app in their hands, right? They're
Right.
the one,
Exactly.
like I need them to feel good about themselves while they're in the process of developing this. I need them to believe
Right.
in themselves. I
Ah,
need them to feel confident in themselves. And when I've displayed behavior that makes them think less of themselves, that's going into the development, and
yeah.
that's going into the way that you know they think of themselves. And
Yeah.
so I've really like tried so hard to, this I don't know, I mean, this has been honestly, this has been probably one of the most difficult challenges that I've ever dealt with, because it's like there's this part of me that like I know better. Like I
Mhm.
know, but it's just a prolonged painful experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been going on way too long.
Well, I have to suspect it's going to have, I mean, as long as you hold on to it, it's got to affect your ability to attract more of what you want. So, I mean, how do you think forgiveness is connected with the law of attraction? And, um, how does maybe forgiving help us to actually manifest our desires?
Yeah, because contrary to forgiving is when you're holding that resentment. And when you're holding that resentment, that uh, like for me, it's very debilitating. It makes me feel like I can't move forward. It makes me feel
Mhm.
like I don't know how to, make proper decisions. And so when you forgive, you're able just to kind of, you're just able to release all that emotional resistance, release the blocks.
Mm.
And because when you have these blocks in you, it just stifles your energy. And, so it's just, freeing you up to allow the positive emotions, to flow freely through you. And that, if you're just tied up in knots with all these bad things and these negative feelings, there's no room for anything positive, no room for the experiences and the opportunities. So forgiving just allows you to open yourself up and free up that space that's just been bogged down with all the nasty negative emotions.
What a great word, bogged down. It's like it really does create a really nice image of just being kind of caught in a bog, like um, trying to get through.
Yeah.
Um, so, I think, getting through emotional blocks is great. Could you explain further how forgiveness is going to help get through those?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it's going to ultimately help you to, I believe that, when you're holding on to these things, it kind of causes you to have certain beliefs that, about people, about the situation. And so you're able to release those beliefs. You're able to free yourself to believe, what do I want to believe instead?
Mhm.
What do I choose to believe about myself, about my ability to choose the right people, about their ability to get this done. And it's just anything. I mean, when it comes to any kind of relationship, whether it's a relationship with yourself, or the relationship with a parent or a sibling or your spouse, or, whatever relationships we're talking about, or your relationship to a particular situation, when you let go and you just free that space in your mind, you're just able to get more clear
Mhm.
um, on what's actually in front of you, what's actually possible for you. You're able to focus more of your energy and your attention on positive things, what you do want. Just being present. When you're in lack of forgiveness and resentment, you're not present.
Mm.
You're thinking about the past. You're stuck in, and so staying in lack of forgiveness is staying stuck in the past.
Mm.
You gotta be present. You gotta be able to move forward. And so it's just going to help you to redirect your focus to think about, what is here right now and what you're moving toward.
Really makes a lot of sense, and it's clearly what you're doing now. It's freed getting rid of that resentment, that and forgiving is kind of freeing you up with some more emotional and energy to work on your other goals. Sort of let that one go for now and let it take care of itself, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
I
It's
feel
like,
like,
in a way, it's like a detachment or a letting
yeah,
go.
yeah. I feel like this is one of those things where if you're the one holding on to the resentment, it makes sense. But if you were to talk to a friend, they'd go, dude, let it go. You know what I mean? I feel like it would be like I could easily tell somebody else that's not helping you at all. You need to just let go of that. But for my own self, I could see where it'd be like, well, yeah, but
Oh, I know. I know. It's so much easier to see things in other people than to see in ourselves.
yeah,
And, I think that that's where having good self-awareness comes in. I mean, like,
yeah,
I have good self-awareness. I really do. I always come back around to this, but then whatever, it's just kind of like a bad habit.
yeah,
And so it's kind of like about catching yourself and breaking that habit and choosing, like, okay, this isn't serving me. This isn't helping anyone feeling like this. Yeah, people screwed up. Yeah, it's all screwed up. Yeah, it's delayed. Yeah. So what? Now what?
yeah. Well, we're all about the positive flow of energy on this show. So let's explore maybe how forgiveness affects the flow of positive energy, um, and maybe talk about how does practicing forgiveness enhance that flow of positive energy.
So ultimately, what's happening when you choose to shift your mindset from a place of resentment, which is really, it's coming from all kinds of other emotions: fear, doubt, anger, frustration, all of that. All those negative emotions now have a chance to shift into more positive emotions, like feeling hopeful, feeling optimistic, feeling, I mean, all of those positive emotions just get so overshadowed by, when you're living in a state of, you know, that yucky negative
Right.
emotion. So you can feel like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm happy. I'm grateful. Like there's just so many positive emotions that you can choose to now feel instead. So that is going to shift your vibration, because when you feel good, people sense it. People can pick up on it. They know, and um, you know, it's going to free you up to just being able to do things, to tap into your mind, to be able to shift, just like I've shifted into, I'm writing a new book. And it's it's fun kind of hilarious, kind of cute book, and I'm really, really excited about it.
Cool.
And I'm also working on, which will probably be out by now. So I don't want to actually say what the name of my book is yet, but it's probably out by now because it's going to be done by May, and it's
Yeah.
like July right now when this is. So, but it's it's going to be out by then, and then I'm also able to shift into creating a course. I'm creating a manifestation mastery course, and this is going to be like a life-changing, there's a lot. And I've had to grow to a point in my own life to get to a place where I can talk about these things. I can talk about like what I've seen not work and what I've seen work in my own life, and even more now. And that's the thing when it comes to forgiveness is, when you forgive, you're just more open to receive new opportunities, rather than, again, focusing on what you don't have. You're able to focus and shift your energy into, better things. And I was going to say one more thing about that, but I just kind of like lost my train of thought. Yeah, it just completely vanished. So it'll come back to me.
Well, so I see you're on the journey there. Can you give us some practical steps to practice forgiveness and release resistance? I'm just kind of wondering how we can incorporate maybe forgiveness in our daily lives.
Yeah. Well, I think for one, we want to really, we know that there's probably something in our lives that um, maybe we're thinking too much about, maybe we're obsessing too much about, maybe having a lack of patience about. And, so just, think about what is that in your life? Is there a person that upset you? Is there a business situation that didn't quite go as planned? What is it? Is there, maybe it could be even a small thing? Because I think so many, the small things can lead to the bigger things ultimately. At first it's just a small thing. That maybe you didn't let that one go. You just let that one fester. But then something else piled on top of that, and so you've allowed it to become and get out of hand and have multiple things. So it even if it's like a small thing, I would say, just take a look at your day, at the last week, at your wherever you might be holding on to something, and just, choose to see it in a different way. Come from a place of empathy. I think that was one of the things that helped me so much with this process, was really actually having empathy for the people that I'm working with in this particular situation. I started really thinking, it's like, again, it's not the person that I'm dealing with, it's not really his fault. It was a sales guy, and who, by the way, reached out to me on LinkedIn and asked me for
A recommendation?
for a recommendation. I'm like, yeah, I don't think you want me to do that at this juncture. Maybe sometime in the future, but anyway, it was kind of funny. But so I actually started thinking about, I started feeling bad
Yeah.
for, started feeling empathy and understanding, and just kind of appreciation even, that, I mean, they haven't quit. And so that's a good thing. I mean, they could just have maybe just left.
Yeah.
And then another practice that you can get into is just, you know, writing a forgiveness letter,
Hmm.
writing. And, usually I think that the person though that we need to forgive the most is ourselves. So
Hmm.
even just writing a letter to yourself, or looking at yourself in the mirror every day, and for whatever, anything that you screwed up, we screw up all the time. just forgive yourself. Like, just look at yourself in your eyeballs, in the mirror. Look at me in my eyeball. Do you remember that? I don't know, there was a movie, we always say that. Um it was with Ben Stiller and
Oh,
anyway. Um And anyway, so, it's like, so just, every day, just take some time to just, you know, jot down some of the things that you forgive yourself for or somebody else for, and just release it and just allow yourself to be, again, kind of reset and be present.
huh. Well, so I just, I think that, so I'm a big fan of visualization. I know you like the journaling. Could you give us some examples of how to do these kind of effectively?
Yeah. So one of the things I think is super effective is bringing the person into your mind and into your heart in a visualization, and just allow whoever you need to forgive to just appear to you. So you would just close your eyes and you would just maybe imagine yourself in some kind of a peaceful setting, like maybe on the beach, or maybe in a forest. I have this little, forgiveness forest script that I use for that. And, so I'll have like the person come and whoever, I'm just sitting there, and I'll just have the person come and sit next to me and take a look at them, and just share in my mind all the things that are going on with me, but then kind of restate it in a way in my mind, seeing them and say, hey, for all these things, I forgive you. For this, for that, I forgive you. And you just kind of keep going through the emotions. For the hurt, for the sadness, I forgive you. And you just watch them and just see the look on their face, and just send them love and send them positive energy, and just like release them and just let them know that you're free. And another thing that you can do is writing a letter of forgiveness. You and again, just journaling about your feelings, your insights after you've gone through that visualization forgiveness process. And I just think any of these techniques, as long as you do them consistently, and you do them with emotion and feeling the actual real feelings, not just going through the motions, but actually really feel the release.
Mm.
Get yourself to the point where, if you need to cry, if you need to, be angry about it for a little while, part of what keeps us stuck in these things, we haven't even really allowed ourselves necessarily to feel the
Mm.
feelings. So you can just, let yourself feel.
I'm reminded of there's a Buddhist meditation
Uh-huh.
on forgiveness. And I don't remember, there's a specific name for it, but I don't remember the name of it. If you Googled it, people out there, Buddhist forgiveness meditation.
Meta, is
Meta,
it?
yes, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I found that one really effective. And for some reason, when I was doing it, I had this experience where I actually imagined them as children. And it was
Mm-hmm.
really tough to be angry at them as children. I mean, like, oh, they're just, and so why is it any different? They're um, they're just people. They were a kid once. It's so I found it really helpful to release a lot of the BS.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, if you can imagine them as innocent little children, which we all ultimately are, like at what point did we no longer get, to have that innocent childlikeness within us? We all still possess that. So
Yeah.
we're all still carrying around an inner child, I believe, that is really maybe hurting, and maybe doesn't understand, or maybe just really has positive intentions. And that's another thing too, is like, no one I don't think there's too many people, even people that just do horribly wrong things. um I don't, most for the most part, I think, there's a positive intention, in
Mm,
everything. Like
yeah.
there's a reason, even though it's maybe not,
You don't understand it. It's
yeah,
not a logical one.
it's not
There is.
logical. It's not the best way to go about
Yeah.
things, but there's a reason, usually, there, some kind of a, unfinished business, something people are trying to protect, or, something is causing the unwanted behavior. And so I think, just kind of understanding that, inside of us all, there's needs that are getting fulfilled, based on any kind of wrongdoing. And then especially if somebody's just unintentionally harming you, well, then that's all the more reason why you want to forgive them.
Yeah. No kidding. So to wrap things up, could you provide anything else? What kind of bonus tips or resources you got for us, those of us who are seeking to embrace forgiveness and release resistance and get that energy flowing?
Well, I think one, is just reading books about forgiveness can really help. I think also getting support, getting somebody outside of you to help you to process, help you to just get it off your chest. A coach, a therapist, support groups, friends, family, whoever. Don't wear out the same person over and over again.
Right.
And unless you're paying them to do
Right.
that.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then another thing is just, using hypnosis, I think, is also extremely helpful. Just to go because it'll just kind of allows you to really do all of this from a higher perspective, more relaxed state, and go through the whole emotions, go through the whole process. And the brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and imagined. So if you actually bring this person into your meditation, into your mind, and you visualize setting themselves free, and you do that multiple times, brain's going to finally catch on that you've done that, and you have let them free. And then one of the meditations that I love to practice is the Ho'oponopono forgiveness.
It's a good one.
And yeah, and that's, there's a, little bit more to it than these four sentences, but the four sentences are to say that, let's see, I'm sorry. Well, let's see, what are they again?
I've forgotten.
Let's see.
Please
I'm
forgive me. I forgive
please,
you.
yeah, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Um, Thank you. I love you. It's like those
Mm,
four sentences. I don't remember if it's in that
yeah.
exact order, but what I love about that is the fact that it starts with I'm sorry. So
Yeah.
the I'm sorry, why does it start with that? Well, it starts with that because ultimately we're the cause of our own suffering.
Mm,
And it's also really deep in that ultimately, if you come from a law of attraction that we create our reality standpoint, then it's all about like, I caused this.
mm,
Essentially, I caused this thing that I'm not forgiving. And
yeah.
so if you really are coming from I'm truly sorry,
Mhm.
then, from that point, that just sets you up to really be able to embrace the power of forgiveness. And there's so much power in it. And so that's, those are my tips for today.
Fantastic. Thanks, Victoria.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you, Jim. And thank you, guests, for being here with us on the Power of Your Mind podcast. Hope you found it informative and inspiring. And please do share this podcast with your friends, with your family. Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and then tune in next week for another inspiring episode. Until then, keep using the power of your mind to reach your goals and live your best life of abundance and joy. Bye now.